And taking a cat's life with torture was such a bad and worse act which took the lady to the hell. Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, said that you can't torture any animal. If you have to slaughter your animal for your eating purposes, you have to slaughter. Holy Prophet said, don't slaughter any animal in any torturous way. Don't cause any torture and pain to the animal. Holy Prophet declared, you know, in those days there were no peaceful settlement of disputes in those days. Wherever there was fights and wars. Holy Prophet declared and gave some laws of war. He said, even on the battlefield, during battle and during war, the Muslim army, during war, on the battlefield, they are not allowed to kill any woman. During war, I am not talking only of state of hostility. I am talking of actual state of war on the battlefield. He said, no one can kill any woman. Number one. No one can kill any child. Number three, he said, in the same way, the killing of old citizens and the old age people is also prohibited. And the killing of the rabbis in those days, and the killing of Christian leaders, and killing of other religious leaders who are worshippers, and the people who are worshippers of the temple, all these religious leaders, their killing is also banned and prohibited. And killing of ambassador is prohibited. Two persons as diplomats came from Musaylama Kazzab. There was another wrong claimant of prophethood, non-Muslim. He sent two envoys, two diplomats to Prophet Muhammad to Medina. And they declared that we believe in his prophethood. Holy Prophet said that in spite of this declaration, I announce that since you are the diplomats and envoys, so killing of diplomat is totally banned and it is prohibited. They would be given full respect. So they were respected. Their life was saved. Ambassadors are saved. The religious leaders are saved. The ladies are saved. The children are saved. The old citizens are saved. Now you can't kill the animals. You can't cut the trees. You can't burn the trees. You can't destroy the houses. You can't attack on civilian people. You can't disturb the common innocent people in the society. During war, these acts are prohibited. So what would be the justification for those terrorists who are attacking on twin towers, who are attacking on offices, government offices, who are attacking on innocent 1,000 people, ladies, children, old people, the workers, the officials, they are being killed. The whole of this act is act of disbelief, act of tyranny, act of kufr. The biggest sin which can be committed according to Quran. And you are demolishing, if you demolish the worship places of various denominations, and in Pakistan, these countries now they are attacking on mosques. The people reading the praying Jummah prayer, they are being attacked by the terrorists. The markets, the lives are not saved by the hands of the terrorists. None of these acts is a service to Islam, and not the service to humanity, and not service of any noble cause. And this cause is not noble at all. Holy Prophet ﷺ stated, even you can't burn. The people are burning through suicidal bombs, burning the people and their lives. You said, you can't burn the ants. You can't burn the trees having fruit. You can't burn those trees and you can't cut. You can't demolish the economic activities. You can't disturb the economic activities of those lands which are non-Muslim lands and which are at war with you during war. You can't disturb those things. Economic activities cannot be disturbed. These are the teachings of Islam. These are the teachings of Prophet Muhammad. These are the teaching of Quran and tradition of Holy Prophet ﷺ. And same was being practiced by the Orthodox caliphs. And it was continued throughout Islamic history. Professor Hitti, a great scholar and Western historian, he writes in his book, The History of Arabs. He writes, even those lands which were conquered by Islam and Islamic rule was established, up to 3 to 4 centuries after conquering those lands, the Christians, the Jews and the people belonging to various faiths, they were never compelled to convert and change their religion. They remained Christians and they remained Jews. Because it was totally banned by Islam that you cannot coerce anybody to change his religion. La ikraha fid deen. You can't compel and coerce any person to change religion or to become a Muslim. This is haram in Islam. Rather, when Holy Prophet ﷺ was in Medina, a big delegation came from Najran and Habsha, 2 different delegates from different times. At different times they came there. Holy Prophet ﷺ allowed them to stay in the mosque of Medina, mosque of Holy Prophet, Al-Masjid al-Nabawiyya. And they asked, they had their stay in the Masjid al-Nabawi, mosque of Holy Prophet ﷺ. Then they asked, when the time of their worship arrived, we want to worship, where should we worship? We want to worship according to our own faith. Companions asked Prophet Muhammad ﷺ about that, where can they worship? Holy Prophet said, tell them they are allowed to worship according to their own faith in our mosque. There is no barrier for them. This is the concept of liberty of religion. This is the concept of democracy. This is the concept of freedom of religion and respect for other religions. And when the people, Christian delegate came from Habsha, Abyssinia, came, Holy Prophet again asked them to stay in the mosque. And he himself served the food with his own hands to them. The companions came and they asked, "O Holy Prophet, we are here, we can serve them food. Why you are serving your food with your own hands?" They had such a respect and reverence for Holy Prophet. He said, "No, when my people went to Abyssinia, the ruler of that country, he respected them. So I want to repay for his respect. I will serve them the food and water with my own hands." This was the level of morality. This was the level of generosity. This was the level of moral and ethical values. This was the level of kindness and merciful. This was the level of friendly and brotherly relationship of Muslim and non-Muslims, which were practiced and presented by Holy Prophet and demonstrated by the seerah of Holy Prophet ﷺ. And when Holy Prophet ﷺ, when he migrated to Medina, he did not start his life, religious life, even from building the mosque. The first action taken by Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was not construction of the mosque. Although the people needed a place of worship. They were in their need, but it was deferred for 6 months. The first action taken by Holy Prophet ﷺ was to establish brotherhood between mankind. He established a contact of brotherhood, al-mu'akhat. This was initially between Muslims, the Ansar and the Muhajirin, the immigrants and the people who were the locals. After taking this step, because he advanced them that we want a society of not extremist people, we want sharing in your life. We want you to become generous for others. I want you to become kind to others. I want you to share with others. I want you to resolve the economic deadlock of others. I want you to become brothers for every person. I want you to help the needy person. This is the basic spirit of Islamic teachings. So he created economic stability, social brotherhood, friendly relations, to help each other, to share the resources, so that the humanity, they should learn that the original spirit of Islam is the concept of brotherhood and love. After this second step which Holy Prophet took, after establishing the relationship of brotherhood between Muslim communities, then he attended the aspect with the non-Muslims. Second step which Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, took, that was he established an alliance between the Muslims